Good morning, residents of Region 10. I'm happy to join you here from the beautiful Upper Demerara Berbice region. It has been almost 3 years since the APNU plus AFC-led regional government recommended to the administration via a detailed report the needs of the people of the Berbice River Region 10 communities. We are heartened by the commitments made by His Excellency President Irfan Ali to the residents of the Berbice River at his recent meeting with them in the community of Wiruni, where he committed to addressing several issues raised by regional leaders on behalf of the people of those communities 3 years ago. Indeed, it seems so long ago that a representation was made by the RDC for the establishment of a Community Development Council, CDC, at Ibini, when councillors and myself met with the residents there and the Tushao. That we are relieved today that this request will apparently finally be fulfilled. We are concerned that as representatives of the people, we brought these to the attention of the government, but they failed to act. Clearly, this is undermining local democracy. The Regional Democratic Council, of which I am chairman, has long championed the extension of public services for the Berbice River by expanding those available at Wiruni, since residents would have pointed out over the past 3 years to yours truly that this community was the most appropriate to serve as a hub for the communities along the river. We wish to recall that we brought to the administration attention a detailed report back in 2020. It is unfortunate that they did not pursue it then. But we welcome the construction of a secondary school to serve the students from the Berbice River, as is the commitment to utilize forest products and labor and expertise residents in the communities as we have long advised. We also look forward to the expansion of the teachers' hostel at Wiruni simultaneously with the construction of the school, ensuring that the personnel needs are addressed in a timely manner as well. For too long, the people of the Berbice River, residents, professionals, young professionals have been suffering under the People's Progressive Party government. The council would like to point out that there is still much that has not been addressed from our reports of 3 years ago. However, including the establishment of a hub for the operation of the river ambulance from Wiruni instead of from Kokwani. And since locating the service in this community brings it closer to those in need. As many of you are aware, the Wiruni community is midpoint of the Berbice River. And so should a health situation, a crisis occur, residents would have informed us since 2020, when I became regional chairman, that they are more comfortable, and they would have recommended that the ambulance, the water ambulance that was made available under the APNU AFC government, be stationed at Wiruni, so that if there is a need for a patient, let's say at Ibini, that needs the service, they can either decide whether to go to New Amsterdam or whether it is at Wiruni and they're closer, based on the judgment of the healthcare workers, to come to Kokwani. That is a decision that they are prepared to make on the spot. And so these are things that the communities, the very people who we are elected to serve, would have recommended. The other issue that would complement this development is that residents would have also requested that a doctor be stationed at Wiruni Health Facility, another project that was constructed under the coalition government for the first time in the Berbice River. They would have seen the construction of a health facility. They are pleading with this administration, and we have made representation for a doctor now to be placed there to provide services to the people who are who need it the most. Note the various public facilities along the Berbice River suffer from a lack of guards and personnel in many instances, presenting a need for the engagement of these services to protect the existing and new assets being provided, as well as ensuring their upkeep. Indeed, residents of the Berbice River have called for the establishment of a police outpost to ensure a permanent presence of security forces, and have recommended that this facility be housed as well at Wiruni. Residents, there is also the pressing issue of the rehabilitation and upgrade of the internet system provided by the National Data Management Authority. You would recall that it was under the APNU AFC for the first time that internet connectivity and access to information came through the robust representation of the then policymakers. We have seen a deterioration in that connectivity. And so this goes against the backdrop where we believe that the government's intention is to deny residents of up-to-date and ready access to information because they intend to keep them, one, in poverty, and to keep them receiving the propaganda that is oftentimes meted out on the national communications network. We have exhausted several letters, several avenues where we wrote numerous letters and other approaches were taken by the RDC to have these systems fixed. They have been completely ignored by the agencies responsible. Residents from all of the communities along the Berbice River have voiced their concern at the lack of maintenance of these systems to support their work. Students, teachers, especially in the education sector, who have to submit reports. In the health sector, the ministry requires healthcare workers and other professional staff to submit reports on cases that may be affecting the communities along the Berbice River. But if there is no access to information, access to the internet, there is a delay in this information being received and a response in the case of emergencies. A final project that the president has not yet addressed, that the RDC has highlighted for years now, is the need for significant funding to be allocated for the completion of the Farm to Market Road between Millie's Hideout and Kimbia. We are aware, and you know, residents, that over $300 million was invested in that project to empower our food security. And it was the very Minister of Finance who would have made a statement that we all disagree with, where he said that there are several other regions who have a comparative advantage to Region 10. We want to ensure that our food security is empowered in the Upper Demerara Berbice River. I would have personally visited the communities and saw many of the produce of the farmers spoiling on the ground. And so works on this corridor has virtually been stalled because this government does not want to empower the region's food security. The funds allocated and that we would have been receiving through the RDC can only now inch along the work, and in many instances would be expended simply maintaining the stretch that was already prepared by the APNU AFC government. And rather than advancing the project, we are left with a situation where we are not receiving funding. And even in the area when we attempt to do our own initiatives with our own resources, engaging persons in the diaspora and companies here to give support, we would have seen an attempt to steal an initiative here in that of the Farmers Market Day, which was initiated and started by this ninth council. Residents of the lower portion of the Berbice River are supported by the Regional Democratic Council with whatever little resources we have in their call to have this road funded in its entirety to support their agriculture efforts in a manner similar to the construction of the Takama Road. In closing, the Regional Democratic Council Region 10 has proposed the bridging of the Berbice River at Kokwani and Kimbia to support the economic efforts of the residents at these two locations, utilizing sections of the existing Demerara Harbor Bridge upon completion of the new bridge. These locations present minor stretches to be spanned, but this development would support tremendous economic gains for these areas. We encourage a feasibility study of this recommendation and the implementation of this input requested on behalf of the people of Region 10. Again, we welcome the attention being finally given to these requests and look forward to action being taken to address the outstanding issues. I thank you.